You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next, the March 6th meeting of the Michigan City Tree Board. You can get more information for this meeting by going to www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay, I'm Jim Mellowitz. I'm the new president of the Tree Board, and welcome to the Tree Board meeting for today. I call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum, and ask that we take a roll call. I guess, am I to do that then? To take the roll call since Laura's not here?
Here, I'll shoot through it.
Okay, why don't you do that?
We know Dr. Cora is not here yet.
Correct.
Mr. Dennis Britton.
Here.
Laura Henderson.
She's not here.
Not here.
Jennifer.
Here. Birchfield. Yes.
Jennifer Birchfield. I'll jump. Dominique Edwards is
Here. We're happy to
I'll
have
let you announce.
Yes.
Mary Nell Murphy.
here.
Mr. James Millett.
Here.
And Betsy
Elsesser.
Elsesser. Betsy Elsesser. Mm-hmm. We have a quorum.
Very good. I'm going to pass around the roll call sign-up for everyone to sign, and then we'll submit that to whatever city official is supposed to get that. Since we have several new members on the board, I thought we could start by going around and everybody introducing themselves and saying what role they have, and maybe we could start with Mike over here.
Good idea.
You, introduction wise?
Yes.
I'm Michael Walton. I am the non-member member. I'm working currently as the secretary. Yeah, again, what's the official word?
Adjunct.
Thank you, adjunct secretary. And I'm the city forester.
Right. Oh, very happy you're here.
We're very happy. We're very happy here. And noting our esteemed guest today, too, Tim Werner, our former president, is in the audience.
There's no public comments.
I'm Mary Nell Murphy, and I've been on the board a couple of years now, serving as vice president, and been in Michigan City about 7 years, and I'm also active with Meals on Wheels and all kinds of things birding, as you may know, and I'm on the LaPorte County Parks Board as well. And I'm very excited about the 5 years we have ahead of us, and I'm glad that we've got a full team here, and Mike, so glad you're here, and looking forward to all the good things we're going to do. And congrats, Mike. Jim.
Thank you. I'm Jim Mellowitz. I'm the president, and I have been on the board for about 1.5 years, taking over for Tim Werner. And glad to be here. We have a full board now, I think, with the recent appointments, and we have a grant, and so we have a lot of stuff going on right now. It's an important time for the board.
Hi, I'm Betsy Elsesser. I'm a part-time resident of Michigan City for a number of years, and I've been on the board for about 1.5 years. My claim to fame is I am a certified arborist, and I'm promoted the idea of hiring a certified arborist to be our city forester, and promoting the idea of changing our job description for that position to require that certification. Other than that, I'm just a fanatic for planting trees.
Dominique?
Well, my name is Dominique Edwards, and I do a multitude of things. So I was born and raised in the Eastport neighborhood of Michigan City, and so I also have been a lifelong resident. I'm also, as I said earlier, the project manager for the Walker Street Park Community Garden, so going into my 4th season, so I'm very passionate about environmentalism and sustainability, especially food security and food justice work. I am currently a PhD student for National Louis University in the Community Psychology program. And I currently am also the one of the Equity and Engagement Coordinators for the Northwest Indiana Food Council.
You have a lot on your plate. Welcome.
Thank you.
Dennis?
Great, I'm Dennis Britton, and I thought we came out at the same time. I've not been here a year
1 month
yet.
apart,
Yeah, well, it hasn't been a year yet that I've been on.
I think so.
I don't think so. I think it came on last year, as I recall. Anyways, I'm a master gardener, and I'm also one of the master gardeners out at Friendship Gardens, and involved in a number of various environmental groups in town. I've been here in Michigan City for about 20 years.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jen Birchfield. I am really excited to be here. I work for the Northwestern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. As part of that, we have an initiative with other partners throughout the region called Community, where we're trying to plant trees, make our urban forest more sustainable, equitable, for everyone. So I have been in Michigan City area since 2006, so quite a while now. I love our community, I love our schools, I love our kids, I love our trees. So I'm really excited. There's so much going on in urban forestry right now. It's really, working regionally. Michigan City is just a leader. There's so much going on in urban forestry, so really excited to be here.
Great. It's a great time to be on the board. Thank you. Okay, so I think the next thing on the agenda is our approval of the minutes for February 7th, 2024. Has everyone had a chance to look at those, or at least the current old members of the board, I should say. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Dennis, were you present at the February meeting? Okay, I was not, so maybe a second can come from you.
Okay, second. Right, I'm pretty.
All in favor of approving the minutes for February 7th?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. All right, Secretary Treasurer's report. We do not have a Secretary Treasurer's report today.
You actually do.
We do, okay.
I have your secretary treasurer report, but it was unchanged from February's. There was no, the treasurer report I received has no changes at all from what we received in February.
Okay,
So,
so there's nothing we need to vote on?
there's nothing we need to vote on. We still have in our special reserve fund 63219. That hasn't changed. And then on the other side of the board's paperwork, the accounting hasn't gone through at all. I did spend $250 of the fund for covering memberships and dues. I got my ISA memberships all updated, and but that hasn't shown up on our
Okay.
spreadsheet yet.
Very
Is
good.
it before or after we have $632?
The 632 is in a separate account.
Oh, okay.
The $250 comes out of line 439 080, and it's service charges and membership dues, and it's on the other, I guess it's under the tree board's account.
Okay. So we do not have a budget or anything, or an accounting
No issues at all.
for the board to consider or
Nope.
approve or anything like that? Okay, very good. Communications, do we have any communications?
No, I was looking, as far as the Facebook page, I want to take some pictures after the meeting, now that we have a new, slate in here. And then, and Mike, I'll talk with you then too, to get like a little interview with you for that as well. But not a lot of activity as expected for February, March.
I have a couple of things.
Oh, all right.
Just a little background for the new members. Mary has kind of spearheaded our Facebook page, and so if you have anything that you come across that you think would be appropriate for us to post, articles of interest, whatever, she is the person really to talk to about
Yeah,
that.
or, join it, as Michigan City Tree Board. Hopefully you'll all join join that. And then if you've got articles, as some people have, I know Laura has, and Betsy, I think you might have posted articles yourself if you're so inclined. And looking for ideas or, happy to share the love on that, taking care of Facebook.
At the last meeting, I volunteered to contact the Unity Foundation of LaPorte County regarding their community grants program and learned a few things, and I have a email from them. First thing I learned was they have community grants and you must apply online, but it does not open until June.
Okay.
So I know, Jim, we were rubbing our hands together thinking if we could get some money for trees. But at least I have the name and email contact for the Unity Foundation, and I set myself up on an account so that when I can access the application, it's just fill in the blanks.
Great. So you're going to calendar that to keep track of that?
Yes, and do you want a copy of this for our?
I'll take that because I
If you
think that
have,
would be good
sure.
to
Yeah,
gather this
that's
for
why I
Laura.
brought that.
Okay.
Can that be read into the record?
Sure. Good idea.
You didn't do it.
Betsy, this is from Lauren Varga of the Unity Foundation of LaPorte County. Thanks for inquiring about our community grant program. The application will be available online in June. Once we finalize the timeline, we'll post it on our website.
Great. This is a program that Betsy discovered.
Well, I was a donor to a Michigan City Tree Fund for a few years in a row, and then I'm wondering, how do we get it back? The limit on all their grant, their minimum grant is $500 and their maximum grant is $5,000. But at this time of the year, they're focusing on scholarships and grants for teachers. The other communication I'd like to report, and I don't have it on paper, is I called NERC to ask about the tree stewards because we are going to need more volunteers later in the year. And they rightly told me they couldn't give me the names and the addresses of these people, but when we do have an event, when we need volunteers, they will publicize it.
Correct. Yes.
So I don't think there was anything more about that. They're having another tree stewards class in the fall.
They will have another one in the fall. It's still in the works. But basically, it's Indiana Department of Natural Resources that coordinates the Indiana Tree Steward Program. NERC and Community are a partner in that. So they do have, it's a 2-day training course that residents can go through, that professionals can go through, and then they are required to do a certain amount of volunteer hours to obtain their certification. And so they are not allowed to give us their list, as you said, people's contact information, but we work very closely with them. So as we have volunteer opportunities, or even if we want to send something out that says, Michigan City area volunteers, they'll be receptive.
So do you all have any idea of how many volunteers you could get from this group? Say we do a community tree planting in the fall, how many bodies could we?
Well, it's hard to say because they attract a group of people from all over. Mm-hmm. And some people are already working for tree care companies. Some people are students. So it depends on the date. If they have if Tree Stewards happens before our planting day, that would be ideal. Mm-hmm. But I think last time it was afterwards. So.
Mm-hmm. So we'll just have to see. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly how many we would get because it's a statewide program, but I know some people from our region have gone through the program. Mm-hmm. I would also be curious if other related programs like Master Naturalist or Indiana Master Watershed Steward program, they also, I believe, have volunteer components. So I could reach out to them
Yeah,
and just see if they have people in the region who are looking for volunteer opportunities.
that would be great. I know Betsy Fleek, who does locally here, though. I know they're starting on St. Patrick's Day, a new Master Naturalist
Okay.
program, and they definitely, have a volunteer aspect to it.
Because we will need planters.
Yes.
We'll need planters. Okay, any other, I have a communication from NIPSCO has announced that they're taking applications for their 2024 Environmental Action Grant Program. I received an email from them advising me of this because I had submitted our application the last 2 years in a row, which unfortunately was not successful.
Yes.
But it will be this year because we have some NIPSCO veterans who will be assisting with that, including our forester. So that is due, according to by April 5th, Mike, so we're gonna have to get that together.
And what kinds of funds or resources are available?
I believe that it's up to $5,000, $500 to $5,000.
And I have worked with that in the past with Cool Spring Elementary on a tree planting project. So I'd just be happy to help if there's help needed to write that.
Great, and you have a lot of experience with grants and
Yeah.
writing anyway. That would be really good. Yeah, the type of grants that they give out it seems like it's tailor-made for us, actually. That we should really get a piece of that action.
And would we have a better chance if we had, if we could name some specific locations where we would plant the trees rather than just
I would think so.
planting in general?
I think the more specific we can be, the better. This is a example, that's the proposal I put in last year. And it may not have been specific enough, but we can work on that.
Yeah, it says locations to be determined, including library part, well,
Right, we need to nail that down. So, Mike, we're gonna have to get this done soon, and I guess we need to look at the applications, get the information together, so this goes out the door before April 5th.
I don't know if you have time for this, but I think the ideal thing would be to find a partner or a place where maybe the teachers or the library staff or whoever they are anxious to have to get this kind of benefit.
I'm not sure we have time to get that together.
I'm not sure we do either.
Well, we'll have to think
So
about
what's the next step on that?
that. To put together the application,
Okay,
which Mike and I are going to do.
very good.
So we'll get it filed by April 5th. Or we'll get it ready before April 5th. I think our next meeting is April 2nd maybe, or something like that. April 3rd, our next meeting is April 3rd. Okay,
I have communication.
okay.
Okay, so this is from the Arbor Foundation, February 28th. Congratulations, your Tree City USA application has been approved by the Arbor Day Foundation. That makes the 24th year. First, take a moment to be proud of all the work you accomplished. Next, take a look at the Growth Award Activities list to plan your work for next application season. We'll reach out when it's time to begin next year's application. You now have access to the Tree City Center, where you'll find things like logos, signage, templates, and other promotional materials. The Library of Tree City USA bulletins, a Tree City USA member directory, and then there's a login. I sent this on to you just a couple days ago. And I did their 3-question survey already. And so the Tree City signs, as we know, there's 4 of them that are up, and they have the sticker that's updated every year. Right now, this is 23 years, so they'll be sending to City Hall. It's gonna be in my name, because I didn't know you when I applied. And it'll be the sticker that says 24 years, and we've asked Streets in Santa in the past to put those up, and they promptly had put those up for us. So we can talk about that if there's any questions, but no, we're Tree City again.
Excellent,
And thanks for doing that application.
Yeah,
yes.
I learned a lot.
Thanks for doing that. By the way, on the NIPSCO grant, Tim, I remember last year I sent you a copy of the application once it was completed. Do you think you might find it? Because I cannot find it.
I'll find it if I have it and forward it on to Mike, so he has that.
Okay, I could not, I know I sent
Remember
it.
about when you said it?
Would have been about the same time last year, March, sometime.
I'll look through my emails and see.
March, April, yeah. Thank you.
Usually just 3 years away.
All right. Education, committee reports, education and outreach.
Okay. I'm continuing to follow up with getting word out through WFM, the radio station here, to do monthly sort of announcements, notifications about what the tree board is doing. Not just that we actually exist. I'm working with Drew at Beecher, and hopefully in April, hopefully by mid-April, we're going to see about getting an article up in the Beecher about the tree board and the new urban forester, et cetera, et cetera. I'm currently working on it. I've done this in the past, but
Are they going to write that, by the way, or are you going to have to
I'm
write it?
sending them info, and then I'm going to be working with whoever writes it up. That will be one of their people will be finalizing.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's in-house, which is good. I've done this before in the past, and as I mentioned before, to those of you that are aware, I'm a retired clinical medical social worker, and as a social worker, I'm trained in community organization and outreach. And so that's part of the role that I've taken on in regard to doing community organization and outreach in regard to the tree board. And so one of the things that I had a year ago or so had recommended that we do the first Saturday of each month at the farmers market, because for 9 years I did the Q&A table for master gardeners at the farmers market. I knew that was really an opportune thing, and I think our presence there at the farmers market has really been, interesting, exciting, getting our presence put out there. So I've done this before in the past, and what I'm going to be doing, I just started working on this April the 21st. I'm going to be spearheading a Earth Day Arbor Day event at the Friendship Gardens from 11 until 3. And I've already talked to Laura about doing like a winter tree walk where she can take people around the paths and get people to identify trees even before the leaves are out. And that's always sort of a fun thing to do. If we have tree saplings available, that would be great to have those available there. Then even if it's just a few, we can certainly, and I can certainly, depending on if I'm the only one from the tree board, anyone else can come, get information out to people at large in regard to what we will be doing, certainly in May, in regard to getting saplings out.
That's before our distribution?
That would be before distribution, but if I don't know when we're going to actually get them.
Okay.
But that would be an added
Yeah, I think
attraction.
if we could get, our goal is to get them in the ground. Get them out there and get them in the ground. If we do it through Friendship Gardens or we
Right.
do it.
We can at
through the
least
farm.
get it started there, and I think it's 2 weeks later that we do our designated.
Sure.
It's May 4th.
Yeah, May 4th, right. As well as, it's also an opportune time to be getting information out about our engagement at the farmers market and other things. So it'll be a nice opportunity to meet the community, have people come through, have saplings if available. I'll be having other environmental groups come in as well. And usually those events are nice, casual, pray for good weather. So we get a number of people, but it's sort of like jump-starting our season,
Right.
but like in the nick of time.
That's where I thought that was.
So I'll be letting you know the more I hear about that and the more I get organized. But at this point in time, it's set for 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Usually things start petering out a little after 2, so it's not a solid, gotta be from 11 to 3.
I'm just.
But all the events are really very good there.
Mike passed these to me earlier, and they're activities for kids, come
sure.
if you want to use any of that.
Yep, we do.
One thing that NERC does have available through Community is a pop-up arboretum program.
Oh,
So they have printed some signs that can be placed on mature trees.
great.
Basically tied to the tree for the day or the month or however long you want to do it, that highlight some of our native tree species that are common.
I love that.
So we could bring
Yeah.
those, for sure, they're available to any community to check out. So I'd love to bring those, and also, fun aside, I'm a Girl Scout troop leader.
Do you have any cookies left?
I do have, you don't wanna go there. You don't wanna go there.
I do.
We do have cookies left. But there is a Girl Scout Tree Promise badge that they can earn. So I'd love to share the word about that event and any other events, any plantings
Good.
with, the Girl Scout troops throughout the area.
Excellent, great.
Sure,
Yes,
numbers.
absolutely.
That's a great note.
Good, so that's sort of the latest, but there's always new things cooking.
Dennis, did you say the date for the Friendship Gardens is April
Friendship Gardens would be April the 21st,
21st? Okay.
because Earth Day is April the 22nd, and Arbor Day is the 25th.
Okay, so
So we're combining Earth Day, Arbor Day in this event.
So to members of the public, we will be giving away tree saplings on April 21st at Friendship Gardens and
If
on,
we have them,
if we have them by then. Why wouldn't we have them?
it's early.
Well, the DNR should make them available by then.
Oh, okay.
We'll be sure to put that on our
They'll be available in March probably from the
Right,
DNR.
yes.
Mike, will you follow up with that in terms of when we're gonna get our saplings from the DNR? Because we ordered, 800 of them?
I thought it was
Or
700.
700, okay, it was in the hundreds, yes.
Yeah, and Mary, I wanted to get back to you too. I will try to let you know in advance, like if we do get a radio spot, or if there is going to be an article for the Beecher, that you can get that out onto the Facebook thing.
Okay.
So let everybody know.
And then I was gonna mention, since we've talked about the Earth Day, so on Saturday, May 4th, may the 4th be with you, so easy to remember. 2 events, so the one we definitely scheduled is the Earth Day Extravaganza. I think that'll be our 3rd year, with the tree giveaway, and that'll be at Kruger Park. Starting at 1 o'clock. Let me just double check that. And the other is, I guess kind of a question, do we want to, Kruger Park starting at 1. Do we want to set the dates for our monthly farmer's market, the tree board at the farmer's market? Last year, we started doing it the first Saturday of the month.
Which is the 4th.
Well, that would fit for May.
Yeah.
So do we want to continue with that?
Well, I think that's a good plan. Sure, we're gonna have the trees, we're gonna start giving them away on the 4th, so
Okay.
the farmer's market would be in the morning then.
Yes, right, from 8 till noon,
And Kruger is at 1
1
p.m.
o'clock, right.
Okay.
Okay, and then I think like last year, July 6th is not only 4th of July weekend, but it's, oh no, that's NASCAR, never mind. It's not, I always think of NASCAR on the lake for our, I don't know if I have the right date for that. But anyway, there seem to be a lot of people at the farmer's market, so that works out well. And so I'll put those dates up, I'll send them around to everyone here too. Oh, a thank you to Mike for setting up the email distribution list, that's very helpful. And August then, would be Saturday, August 3rd. And then we'll do September, and I think we do October as well. So I'll get the dates for those.
Okay, great.
And
So Mike, are you going to be the one to pick up the seedlings then when they are available?
I don't know.
the DNR.
I think you would be the logical person to do that.
We would like you to, but
Like
that
you
means
to.
getting a truck and all of that.
Do we need a truck for that? We don't need a truck for that.
Oh, okay.
It's helpful.
I just threw it in
It's
my
helpful.
pickup prior years, so.
Pickup truck.
Pickup truck size, okay. And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not a moving van. but-
and where do we pick them up from?
Down at the Jasper Pulaski Tree Nursery.
Which is
An hour south.
420.
Yeah.
an hour south. Okay,
Jasper Pulaski State Nursery, yeah.
okay.
So, Mary, having the farmer's market that morning, we should probably have some flyers made up letting people know about the sapling giveaway in the afternoon, as well as getting on Facebook.
So
Yeah, last year we had a terrific flyer and
Yeah, we did.
made good use of it.
we did. Do we know when the DNR trees will be available? They've got, I'm thinking in March. Will they notify, they will notify us, won't they?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we got an email, I think, from them the last couple of years when they were available, so.
Yeah.
Who did you
It came
contact?
early on Monday, and like I couldn't get down there until Saturday, so
Mhm.
almost everyone else had already been there. We got like the remnants, so
Mhm.
since we have a paying customer who gets paid for this kind of stuff, now maybe he can go down there and work hours again.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah.
We'll get fresher trees this
Who
year.
did you talk to at DNR?
I'll give you the contact information.
That's great. So we'll definitely have trees by April 21st, and so
And also too, isn't there an issue of wanting to get the saplings out there before they start budding?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The sooner we get them in the ground, the better.
Yeah.
They'll be fresher. They'll be wetter. They won't be dried out. If we wait too long,
I
they.
can't remember what trees we had that were budding out already when we got them in the ground last year.
Okay.
Climate is changing trees.
Yeah.
My name
Running
is
already.
James Potoff, Potthoff.
Yep.
District Forester.
Public relations. Anything new on the Facebook page?
Nope.
Anything new on press releases? Not to my knowledge. Dennis is working on contacts with
Yep.
the Beecher and WEMS, et cetera.
EFM, or whatever, WEFM,
Right.
Beecher EFM,
We're soon to have the tree board be famous.
hopefully.
Yep. Okay. Arbor Day, I think we covered that. Tree giveaway, we've covered that. Grants, we've talked about the Unity Foundation grant that Betsy is on top of. We talked about the NIPSCO grant application that is due April 5th that Mike and I are going to work on. The federal grant is a whole nother subject that Mike's going to address here in a moment. Okay, annual tree planting, that would be the community tree application, which we will have to file by when?
I do have an update on the community applications. And I will say, I'll take this opportunity to say that as a NERC employee managing the community grants, I will be recusing myself of the review of any Michigan City applications, of course. Just have to get that out there. We will not likely have a spring round. NERC has submitted an application to continue that program through U.S. Forest Service Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. We are very optimistic. We think we'll get it. But there's been a little bit of a lag. We're not sure that we'll get it in time to have a spring round. So it's likely that we will be accepting applications for fall trees.
When are those applications due?
There's not a set deadline yet since we don't have the official grant, but typically they would be due in August.
Oh, okay.
And so, normally we'd have a spring round and a fall round. This year we'll probably just have a fall round. So what we'll likely do is just open applications and accept them rolling through the summer. And then finalize them in August.
I think that's fine, because we would rather plant the trees in the fall anyway.
Yeah.
They have a better chance.
Yeah.
Do we have, in the tree request list that we typically put together for this, is something that we advertise, well, with Dennis, when you talk to the Beecher and these radio stations, we definitely want to be talking about getting members of the public to sign up for getting a tree and for assisting us in planting the trees.
Right.
And we will be keeping a list at the farmers markets of people who want to volunteer to do that or to get a tree.
Part and parcel of both is identifying that, yes, in fact, we do welcome volunteers, and these are the different kinds of volunteer opportunities you can acquire by contacting us.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And maybe we can offer, we should offer people that if they'll cut down a tree of heaven that happens to be in front of their house, we will give them a free tree, we'll even come and plant it.
Some of the counties do that. They have applied through Communitree to do those programs where if you show evidence that you've removed an invasive species, then you can get the tree. That's not a condition of the Communitree grant program. You can just have the tree that's going to be maintained. But the soil and water conservation districts have approached it that way of show us evidence that you've removed burning bush or tree of heaven in order to get your tree.
You know, Mike, is there anything on the city website with regards to trees that talks about if you want a tree, any resident of Michigan City who wants a tree to be planted, they can apply? We should put that on the city
The
website.
website's being rebuilt, and it's currently not very active.
Okay, well, we certainly should, when it becomes active and we are able to craft our message as a tree board, as the forestry office, that should be something that's included. We should be talking about, it should be a regular point of information to the public that, we want you to get rid of invasives, but we also offer trees for planting. We need volunteers. All those points should be a regular point of our public relations, I think. Don't you think? And on Facebook, of course, we can make these points as we get later.
Yes, and I hope we can grow the Facebook page. We don't have that many. We have less than 100 followers.
Oh, no, but they're good followers.
Sure.
Don't be more.
Okay, I follow it. My wife follows it.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, very down 98.
All right. Tree city designation, we have covered that. Arborist report, the arborist forester report.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What we've been waiting for, the highlight of our meeting, right? We asked Mike, and just for the new members of the board, it's really neat that we have a forester now. We did not have any staff before dedicated to the tree board or to these issues, and so this is a game-changing situation now. And I was over there, I can tell you today that he was at his post, doing his job, working hard. So.
I had just woken up from my nap.
Well, his feet were on the desk, but,
Hey, thanks for sending him down to my office.
My pleasure.
So we asked Mike to just give us a one-page brief summary of what he's been doing during the last month, and you probably haven't received that, but he did that, and that's kind of the template for what he's going to tell us, I think, right?
Well, if I could find my copy.
Or just,
I can tell you some of the crucial things I've been working on is I've been working on a new database.
I found it here for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You want to be the secretary? The March Forester report, a list of major things completed. I revised the board-approved city forester position. Oh, I didn't revise it. The revised board-approved city forester position. That information was delivered to the mayor.
and what does that mean, delivered to the mayor? What happens to it now?
I have no idea. I was told, take it to the mayor. I took it to the mayor.
So we'll
So,
follow up, next month if there's no.
I would
no-
imagine it's gonna end up going through the
City council.
city council and then,
It'll be reviewed by city attorney and then moved towards city council.
so do we know that that process is actually happening, or will
I
you
can
be,
check on that, I don't know.
will you follow up with that, just, so it doesn't just sort of vanish into the ether, or whatever after you?
I don't believe with the current administration that will happen.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Great.
Application.
But there is a lot going on right now.
You're
I'm
correct.
sure that the mayor has a
Big
few
transition.
other issues on her plate.
She,
A tree board, top of the list.
let's see, I completed the database for the licensed arborists who are coming into the city. And that's up and running. We're using that to track licenses as far as the database includes when their certificate of insurance expires, because their application runs from technically January 1st to December 31st. However, a lot of them have certificates of insurance that expire in mid-year. In fact, I've got one I just sent out a letter to stating a reminder, your certificate of insurance expires at the end of March. And they needed to make sure they got it in or they will not be licensed.
Have you discovered unlicensed arborists working in the city?
You mean, yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
I've got on my desk right now fines for two of them for $2,500 each, for failure to obtain a license prior to working. I've had a other one that I ran into driving down the road. I was actually talking to a neighbor about a problem she had with a tree. Noticed a guy working, walked over, took pictures of his truck. The guy working called the mothership, his boss, and said, "Hey, you guys aren't licensed. You're doing work in the city. You have, I have the citation written, is for $2,500. If you come in tomorrow and fill out your paperwork and pay your $150 or $100, depending, fee for the license, that citation becomes a warning." And he was in the next day, took care of it.
Great.
Yes, that's great.
So, that has been, and I went black on you there.
So the next item on your list is completed database for tree work. What does that mean?
A database for the tree work. What I did was, I needed a method to, when I create, if somebody calls in and says, "Hey, my name is John Doe, I have a tree in my front yard, if it falls over, it's gonna hit the house." There was no way of producing anything from that phone call. There is no database. We have at the City Hall a system called New World, which has multiple, I can't think of what they're called, like packets, of different things. None of those are up and running.
So were you able to solve this problem?
I solved the problem. I called IT, had them get me a whole different program, and I'm programming the program.
Excellent.
Wow.
All right. You started the process to negotiate for an annual service contract with Specialized Tree Company.
Yes, I put together a price list that I'm willing, more like the insurance, like dealing with an insurance company. Instead of me sending out quote requests and saying, "How much are you gonna charge me?" I'm sending out a list to all the contractors saying, I want to hire somebody to do all the work for the whole year. The reason I put it that way was because we have no company, if there's an emergency, there's no company I can call and say, hey, get out there and fix this problem. It just doesn't exist. So instead of having them bid out how much they're willing to charge me, I did like the insurance companies did. I created a price list based on what I'm willing to pay.
And how do you
that
know?
way-
How do you know what you're willing to pay? And does that have to go through some city department for approval, the purchasing department or whatever? I don't know how that works.
Forestry Department.
Forestry.
Through the forestry department.
So I created a price list for all the variations of things you'd run into, whether it's removing a tree based on DBH and location. If it's next to the road, they can use their bucket truck. It's one price. If it's in a backyard and they're gonna have to climb it or mat their way in or something to remove a tree, it's another price. So I covered all the variables and I have a price list. And I'm going to submit this price list to the guys and say, here's Michigan City's price. If you want to do the job, you have to negotiate with me and work under my numbers, not your numbers.
Will those prices have to be approved by anybody else in the city government?
Not that I know of. It's, right now, it's kind of like the Mike Show, so I was doing
The
it.
Mike Show.
And so I created a price list, and I created, it's an Excel-based sheet. So I created, along with it, it's a three-page worksheet. Page 1 is my price list. Page 2 is a worksheet that I can plug in numbers. And the third sheet is a work order that's automatically generated by me plugging my numbers into my price list.
Okay.
And it creates a work order and says, here's now the page, go do this job.
Is this something that's has to be approved by the mayor?
Yes, or no, I don't know. I have talked to the mayor. I run all this through the mayor. And she was on board with the concept, and so I just proceeded with it.
Okay. You're also working on an RFQ for the 2024 tree survey
Yes.
needed for the federal grant.
That's the request for quote for the federal grant, from the federal grant. So what I have to do, according to the grant paperwork, we needed to create a request for quote, send it out, and then get quotes from companies to do the tree survey. That paperwork has gone through the Board of Works, they approved it, and I now have that paperwork, and I'm putting together a list of all the contractors that we want to send that to. But it'll be posted publicly anyway.
Is that something that we need to approve as a board here, that we have any role in?
I can send it to everybody. I don't have a copy with me, but I can produce one and send it to you.
I don't know what the procedure is there, Tim. Does the Board of Works, are they the ultimate authority?
Board of Works is the ultimate authority for awarding any contract,
Okay.
expenditures for the city, yes.
I don't think we want to be involved in awarding contracts.
No, I mean, you guys probably want to just take a look at the RFP request and say, hey, maybe you should add this, or I don't know if we want to stress that kind of thing, but
Yeah.
other than it's the Board of Works that finally has the approval once the proposals come in as to how that's awarded.
Okay.
And
I think that's what we
ran
would
the
like to see.
paperwork through legal. I had, because it being a federal grant, there's a lot of wordage and
Right.
stuff they require. So I actually worked with them and they put together the rest of it.
Is the tree survey the same thing as the inventory?
Yes.
Okay.
Tree survey is
We have two
tree.
things, okay.
May I just ask, thank you for doing all that. It sounds like you've gone through all the proper channels.
Yeah.
I just want to be sure that there's request for quote, request for proposal, request for bid, request for qualifications. Is there any mechanism in there to allow for those who bid to sort of state their qualifications, to show previous experience in this field? I'm just envisioning that there could be a lot of discrepancy between inventorying trees, well, what parameters are you proposing to inventory, that kind of
Well, the request for quote runs through the whole process. It's
Okay.
what I want. Everything from GPS location, DBH,
Okay,
tree condition,
perfect,
Species.
okay.
everything. Plus, it does have a provision in there for them to supply proof of
Okay.
prior work. Yes, that's in there.
Fantastic.
Right, and there were, I mean, we were approached several meetings ago by people who were dying to do this work.
Okay,
And, because they found out that we got the grant, and there's a budget line of $100,000 approximately for the inventory, and which should be more than enough to take care of this.
Well, I'm hoping it's enough.
Oh,
$100,000 for a tree inventory
Right.
is,
Very far.
it's pretty slim.
Yeah.
But I think we'll, I'm hoping that we'll come in with that. That dollar amount kind of slim in today's economy.
really?
pretty intensive work.
It's a
And
very,
other towns have also received these
Yeah.
kinds of grants, and so the demand is high in our region.
Right.
yeah,
Our neighbors just report.
it's extremely labor intensive to locate, GPS locate every tree.
Didn't you send us a list of the companies that do that type of work? I thought I saw an email from you on that.
I had a list on my desk of companies I went through, everybody who we had worked with before, and recommendations. I'd gotten
I know you-
recommendations of companies from a couple of people.
Okay. You started a draft for the new Michigan City Tree Share Program. What
Yeah,
is that?
tree share program is something that, it's like the giveaway program, except it is a tree share program where people can contact the city, say, I want a tree. And the share program is we're sharing the cost. Instead of giving them a tree for free, they're paying 50%, we're paying 50%. I wanted the share program because if the end user, if the homeowner has skin in the game and buying a tree, or at least half a tree, I felt that they would be far more inclined to take care of the tree and help it.
Of course.
So, but it's a work in progress of that
So
concept.
that's a conceptual program that you are
It hasn't,
working.
yeah, it's almost ready to give to you guys so you can look it over and see how we can implement it.
Okay. So speaking of things that you have given us already, there's another thing you've been working on, and that was revisions to the city tree care ordinance,
Right.
section 102-41, and you've developed a proposed addition to that city ordinance. And I've looked at it. We talked about this a little bit earlier today. I think that the best way to consider that is to establish a subcommittee of a couple of board members to work with you on coming up with a draft and taking what you've come up with and brainstorming a little bit on things that might want to be in that ordinance.
Right.
And then present something to the board for a general consideration.
And that's great. This was, I brought this to the board for you guys to look it over and say, yeah, we like this, or no, we don't like this, what about this? So I hadn't thought about it as a smaller subcommittee, but that was the concept for this.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
It was hard to read in that red type, and I could not print it out. But it looked like we were hoping to require people to plant and maintain trees, and
Yeah, I'm concerned.
I'm very concerned about that. And because there might be some people that
Can't afford it,
Oh, I
don't want to
understand.
do it,
That's-
but I would.
or don't want to be required to do anything.
I would make a suggestion that if we're going to require anything, that we should have it required on new construction. For example, my neighborhood, there's 3 or 4 new houses around the corner just outside of our development, and no trees at all. It was all stripped down, and there's a series of like 6 or 7 new houses and just mud out in front. And I think, well, the same thing could apply downtown if buildings are constructed near the double track, that if they're going to put up a new construction, those developers should put in trees.
Yeah,
And
and I would add specifications for the planting of that tree, because we see a lot of trees that are planted.
Well, isn't that a part of the planning department, when somebody goes in to get a permit for all this stuff?
And I'm working with the planning department to make sure that trees are
Part of that.
part of the process. So I'm working.
There are elaborate planning department ordinances and such
Yep.
on this stuff, so I'm wondering where this fits relative to that.
Because it's really also in addition to planting at development sites, preserving
Right.
in certain
Right.
situations. And I know there have been examples where a developer went in and cleared a bunch of trees.
Yes.
Intentionally thinking that it would get them out of their way, and then had to put up a wall, whereas they could have avoided all of
Right.
that
Another-
if they had preserved the trees.
Another concept that's not in this one is, and it's in the, of the city rules, section 1-7. That's where the fines come in. The fine, the $2,500 fine is state set. There's nothing we can do with that. However, I haven't brought it up yet, another in-process thought. I want to include in that if I go out and I cite a contractor for removing 50 trees off a piece of property, they must not only pay the fine, but they must supply me with 50 additional trees. They need a 1-to-1. If they took out a tree, they need to give me a new one. So that throws the emphasis back in their lap instead of in our bank account to get these trees back into the city.
I think it's going to be really important to coordinate this with what's in the planning.
One thing the board may want to do is invite Scott York, the planner, to come to a meeting and talk to you about what's in the current ordinances for development and how that can help the tree board meet what you guys want to do and what you can recommend that differences and changes to those particular planning and development guidelines to get to where the city wants to be as far as tree cover.
And he did that a year ago or so. He was here to talk to the board.
Different topic, I think.
Different topic, right?
I think that's an excellent idea, especially now that we have new members on the tree board.
Mhm.
Maybe first share this with him.
And a new forester, right.
And there are other cities that have done that before too. So they have something that is within their municipal structure on the books to do something like that, like a 1-to-1 ratio in regards to you get rid of so many trees, you have to replace them. And so with increased development pressure that's been happening over the last several years that will continue to increase, we are going to see a significant decrease in our tree canopy.
Well, and the developer's first instinct is always tear it out.
Right.
They don't want anything in front of their bulldozers, even though they could easily build around it or structure things.
You know, one I drive by every day.
And I mean, and maybe we could even incentivize having or procurement of more environmentally conscious subcontractors, which they do exist, but they do have, like you guys were saying, $100,000 is kind of like a drop in the bucket. Like if we want to improve some of our like environmental and sustainability initiatives across the city, we're gonna have to put more money at it, unfortunately.
Oh, and along that same line, I foresee in next year's budget, which is already considered to be tight, we need to consider, so we're gonna need to look at the fact that for many years, some of the departments, and I'm gonna pick on the cemetery group, the cemetery has been taking trees out of the cemetery every year. Nobody ever puts one back. So now we're in a deficit. We're gonna have areas that we need to replant. Another one is the golf course. Golf courses take out trees, they never put one back in. And it just destroys our inventory.
And additionally, removing a mature tree, does planting a
Right.
tree replace that in 30 years, maybe?
Yeah.
So,
Sure, it's a big loss.
Tim, did you have?
Yeah, I just
comment?
wanted to make sure the board is aware of this ordinance modification. Make sure you have Dr. Cora on board with everything, because he will need to sponsor the ordinance to bring it in front of the city council for
Okay.
approval.
Right.
So you will need a sponsor for the ordinance change, and you guys do have a liaison with Dr. Cora from the city council. So
Good point.
We will have to sponsor of it, but I think it's important to note that, Mike, this was kind of your initiative, that you felt that these were some of the things that needed to be added to the city ordinance. And so it's sort of like a rough draft for us to consider. And my personal feeling is that we also need to address invasives with this in some fashion. I mean, you don't directly do that with the language in here, but I think we could encourage people to remove invasives and make
Plant natives.
plant native, and encourage to get the city to have a policy of actively removing invasives.
that's,
Right.
I think, Mike, what you'll need to do is make sure you have a budget for next year for invasive removals as well as just normal
right.
dead tree and that removal, because we will be developing budgets later this year for next year.
Do we
Right.
have a recommended tree list or a, I don't want to say prohibited necessarily, but is there a city
Yes.
tree? We do, okay, great.
In our 3826 is the ordinance, I believe, number. There is a list of approved trees, and there's a list of unapproved. Also, I'm working on, that's what this is, another thing I'm working on is putting together a list of urban trees for us to consider for our, when we go to buy our trees. And part of the thing is including considerations for decorative great trees, what to use, how to use, what to consider. So I've been doing some reading on those, and I've come up with, I have a list of 10 sidewalk trees that would be a good fit for the Michigan City climate.
Great.
And I have another list of 12 suitable large trees that we can put in to replace silver maple trees, which we should be getting rid of.
Yes, yes.
So
So
I
that's good stuff.
kind of, again, it's in the works. It's just concept at this point.
And we should have a specific budget for tree of heaven removal in the city.
We need to get, I don't know how to do it. I've requested from the controller's office to make for us a line item for income. I wanted to put fines that I'm putting out there, like I said, they're $2,500 pop. I wanted a place to put these fines. I wanted a place to put the payback. If I have actually in this thing a list of the costs, current wholesale costs for trees, based on species, diameter, that kind of thing. In an effort to get ahead of the concept of the one-to-one replacement, I know exactly how much it would cost, how much I could assess somebody for removing 200 different trees.
Circling back to your proposed ordinance change, I think that it is important that there be coordination and discussion with Skylar York and the planning department on this.
Oh, I
Have you talked-
brought it to the board because,
Have you talked with anybody over there, or had any meeting with Skylar or his people
about this.
about what's in the planning department ordinance and how you can complement that, or how this would interplay with that?
Yes, I have. I actually work with Skylar
Okay. Well, you guys, yeah,
frequently.
yeah.
So, but yes, I have.
Do you think it would be helpful then to have a sort of a subcommittee work with you on developing this further?
I would like to see the board itself as the whole subcommittee go over, find out what you want to change, and then trying to put those changes in, find out what you would want to change out of this, and then I could go in and redo this, and maybe with some assistance with Skylar or some, to see how to, it may be worded better that might fit our system. I think it's very good.
Well, I guess I'm wondering what you all think would be a better approach here, to have the board as a whole give input to Mike on this, or for us to run it, have a subcommittee develop a more refined proposal first?
Or could we get Skylar's input first and then, we can look at
I like that.
Give
So
this
the
to
board-
Skylar and ask him to review it.
I don't think we're there yet.
No?
I don't think this proposal is ready to run it by Skylar. I think we need to refine it yet before we start taking it outside the board.
Yeah, this was generated by, again, we don't have any emergency plans. One of the things in this is storm and emergency related. The last item specifically, the last two items on there, in case of immediate necessity, the removal or trimming of, for reasons of storm or emergency, that we don't have to go through a lengthy process with the homeowner. I can knock on the door, explain, hey, we have this emergency, you got this tree that's leaning over here, we need to remove it. And without going through a process of getting written approval or bringing it to the board and say, hey, I want to take this tree out. This was an avenue to fix a gap that I saw.
Yeah, and I don't think most of us would have a problem with that. The earlier part of the proposal, when we were talking about obligations of the homeowner, I think we need to work that over.
I think we need to work it over
Right.
before submitting it to Skylar to
Right. This,
give his feedback, yeah.
And just, that's Mike, have you kind of coordinated with police and fire and Sean with central services as far as what their process is for that? I mean, you may be trying to create something that's already in an ordinance for them. When it becomes an emergency situation, police and fire kind of take over.
Kicks in.
right, I did not talk to police and fire.
Yeah, I would recommend you do that, to see if they've already got something in their ordinance that trumps anything that the board here would do.
Good idea.
Well, why don't we table this for the moment and come back to this at next meeting, since we're already an hour and 10 minutes into the meeting here, and we'll discuss it again next month.
And I also wanted to ask if there was, some thought in regards to, like you were saying, something about the homeowner obligations for that as well. So if it was an emergency situation, who is responsible? So if a structure on that homeowner's property is damaged or something like that, and we're coming in and we're talking about we're gonna remove it, is the city obligated? Is the homeowner responsible? Or have we not gotten that far yet?
We
Just to
haven't
put that out,
gotten that far
there,
yet.
just to think about.
Yeah, this is, what this asks is to give us the authority, if I've got a homeowner who is, their property butts mine, and they have trees and things that are growing into our thing, into the cityscape. Could be a problem with sidewalk, could be a problem with traffic, cars hitting it. Instead of, the thought on this was to give us the authority to go to them and say, listen, these are your trees that are causing this problem. We want you to take them and get rid of them.
It's certainly an issue that we need to look at, for sure.
Because currently what has to happen is the city automatically pays the bill to go out and trim this stuff. And I agree, it could, we have to be very cautious about enforcing or demanding payment by a person who may not be able to afford it.
Right, so
But what this is just a way of working
With the homeowner.
within,
Against them.
right,
okay,
that was
so
the concept.
Sorry,
Is
sorry,
there-
I'm dragging it
Would
out.
you
Sorry,
send
guys.
that out again in a way that we could make up?
Do you want the orange going?
Well, but I don't know what it was, but I could not print it out.
well, he needs to be able to show what he's adding to the ordinance.
Right.
Well, I'll just make it italicized, you'll see it.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about it at the next meeting with some more specificity. Anything else from the arborist, from the foresters?
No, that's
That's
my
it for you?
weekend.
But was there also those like with the grants, like the
Oh, the grant.
Yeah, yeah.
The grant application,
big thing?
I've been into, the grant application has been I can't say rewritten, it's been tweaked. Drew Hart contacted me and said, hey, I've sent your information. I did a not corrected, but again, tweaked something, sent it back in for them. He sent it back to me and said, okay, our committee looked it over and they want more information about this, or we wanted to see, can you give me more information about that?
So that's been done,
It's all been done,
Okay.
been resubmitted.
but it doesn't materially change anything in the grant?
No.
Okay,
no.
great. This
Well,
is-
the only thing that materially changed is the line item for the trailer, the water trailer. We had it up in equipment, and I had to pull it back out of equipment.
We talked about that in the previous meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that changed, because it was in the equipment in the paperwork.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. So otherwise, we're good on that?
Forest Service just recommended we take that money and plant more trees.
Great.
So, it's in there.
Okay, so
All right.
All the corrections have been made and submitted.
Thank you.
we're good. Anything else from the forester today? No? Old business? New business? Board member comments?
Welcome all new members.
Thank you. Here, here.
Here, here. Comments from the public? Mr. Werner,
I guess I should come up.
would you like to identify yourself?
I am Tim Werner. I live at 310 East Cool Spring. I just want to thank all of you for the wonderful job you've been doing at the tree board. I did thank you, Mike, because I was going to bring up the money issue of fines and where that goes. And I know we had talked about that internally, that the city is trying to work on developing a system where these fines don't just go to the general fund, they go to the different boards.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're trying to work out pretty early. So I think you as a board will start seeing more income pretty soon as we get this
If
going.
we can get it through, because my initial thing was rejected. They just came back and said they wanted to see more history before they go through with the paperwork, which in my response is, we haven't had this ever, so there is no history. There was nobody writing fines for tree work, so there is no history.
There was nobody writing fines?
We didn't
Oh,
have
no.
anyone, we didn't have a forester.
You have to be sworn in to do it, so they didn't have anybody who could do it. And so we haven't submitted any fines, we haven't stopped people from illegally working. It's just been going on.
There's a new sheriff in town.
However, like I said, they rejected my idea. They said, no, can't do it. They want all of our money to go into the general fund, and then somewhere down the road, this is, in my opinion, big government taxation, somewhere down the road, we can revisit this, then they'll write it. And my words to the mayor were, this is not correct. If it goes into the fund, we will never see it. True, we'll never see it.
Okay, so work in progress.
We will revisit
Tim,
that
did you
issue.
have something
Yeah,
else?
so that was the first thing. The second thing I would like to request the board direct the forester to send a letter to all the previous recipients of the community trees to make sure they schedule the watering routinely for this year, and again, do the same next year. Because,
Yes.
that was part of the deal, is that you
Right.
guys would water these trees we've given you. So
I hear.
I think we just need to remind these
That's
recipients.
a good idea.
Excellent.
Mike, can you take
Time
that?
to
Yeah.
water
And if
them.
it would be useful for NERC to provide some sample email language, NERC would be happy to do that.
Please do send me language,
Thank you, Jen.
and do we have a list of all the old,
You got it.
I do?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Do I know what I have?
You got the maps and all the addresses and all the information that they give you on all those community trees.
Right.
Yes, I do.
And there are probably pictures of me planting those trees.
There are pictures
There are.
of you planting those trees, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Werner. The
I
next,
think.
Thank you, board members, for all your great work, and thank you, new board members, for joining.
Well, thank you, Tim, for all you have done on the board.
How many years?
27, I think, felt like.
it wasn't on
Your entire life.
Yeah, exactly.
Our next meeting will be April 3rd of 2024 at this location. We will hopefully see you all here. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
And seconded.
Second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? We're adjourned.